guys, c'est moi. The least said about this the better. I'm hoping to get it fixed in a few weeks. So, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while, hasn't it? So I'm gonna try and do a quick run through of what I've watched in what's just gone, April. I don't even know what bloody day it is. 1st of May today. I'm going to try not to talk too much about everything to get this out of the way as quickly as possible. Apologies for looking down. I've got my laptop and look at my lovely stickers. I've got my laptop on my knee. So let's get on. So the first movie I've got on my list here is Imaginary, which I watched, as you can see, at the end of the month. I don't even know why I've clicked into that. It was rubbish. Absolutely terrible. Really good idea, just not taken advantage of at all. I really didn't enjoy Imaginary. Excision, so I've given this one a 3.5 and I'm struggling to remember because we all know what I'm like. Alienated Teen Pauline, yes! So this is about a girl that's a little bit different, that's a little bit weird, struggles with pressures of fitting into high school, pleasing her mother and a burning desire to lose her virginity. She has a grotesque curiosity for like everything dark. She's considered a social outcast by everyone around her. Enticed by flesh, she retreats into her own fantasies and hopes to become a great surgeon. That is, if she doesn't go insane first. I really enjoyed this. I thought this was excellent. I would thoroughly recommend this to horror fans. Really quirky little movie. I thoroughly liked it. So Excision is a 2012 movie. Late Night with the Devil, I won't open that. I love this movie. I know a lot of people aren't big fans. I think most people really enjoyed it. Some people weren't that keen. You can see there I've given it a 4.5 out of 5. I loved it. I thought it just captured that 70s talk show vibe perfectly. Now, unlike other people, I actually liked the sections where it cut to black and white behind scenes when we were in Brex. I really enjoyed that. You felt like you were getting like a background scene of what was going on. The ending was a bit weird, it was a bit OTT, but I loved it. I thought it was fabulous. So yeah, Late Night with the Devil, big thumbs up for me. Gateway, what is this one? Right, okay, this is one that I did a review for Leo for Geek Legion of Doom for. So over to his channel if you're interested in that one. I gave it a 2 out of 5. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. But I have done a full review on his channel if you want to give that a watch. The Old Oak. So this is a movie that is on Netflix at the moment. It is this a true story? Right, a pub landlord in a previously thriving mining community struggles to hold on to his pub. Meanwhile, tensions rise in the town and Syrian refugees are placed in the empty houses in the community. If you like things like Brassed Off, The Full Monty, I think you'll really enjoy this, but this one isn't as overtly funny as those movies. This, Ken Loach directs this. This has got a very serious subject matter. What these refugees are having to listen to and tolerate from some of the community is disgusting. But then you have people in the community like the pub landlord that's trying his best to actually help the situation. It's a really interesting movie. There are people in it that don't appear to be actors. I think that was a conscious choice. I do think this is worth a watch. I don't think it's as amazing as Brassed Off or The Full Monty, but it's very British, it's very Northern English. So yeah, I would recommend it if that sounds like your type of thing. Retribution on the 5th. I give this a 2 out of 5. Okay, that's a Liam Neeson one. More of the same. It's got a similar idea to Speed. He's in a car with his 2 kids. Someone's planted a bomb. If he stops the car, the bomb's going to go off. You're not really going to see anything new here. It's your typical Liam Neeson action movie. 2 out of 5. Scoop. Is this the one? Yeah. So Scoop. This is the one about the very famous Prince Andrew interview. Gillian Anderson plays the interviewer. Billy Piper plays the like researcher who manages to book people. Everybody in this is fantastic. I have seen reviews and not everyone's a big fan. I really enjoyed it. 3.5 out of 5. I felt the performances were fabulous. I found it really interesting to find out what goes on in the background, what happens. But yeah, I would recommend if you haven't seen. I thought it was really good. Lamb. Okay, Lamb is a movie I watched. This is Liam Neeson's first proper starring role. It's a 1985 movie. This is actually usually really hard to get hold of, and I found it on eBay for about £7 and I snapped it up when I saw it. Background of that is I studied this for English literature in school for GCSE. and we had to write a prosecution or a defense for the character that Liam Neeson plays, which is a priest. I got defense. So Liam Neeson is a priest in a boys' home. There's no funny business going on. It's not that kind of movie. And this little boy comes into the boys' home. He's very badly treated at home. The boys bully him. He's got epilepsy, and Liam Neeson's character, the priest, takes him under his wing and feels very fatherly towards him. And he actually ends up in this movie taking the boy away from the boys' home because he's going through so much. Now, we studied the book, and there is a lot more detail in the book as to what the boy was struggling with and the bullying he was, there was just a lot going on that isn't put in the movie, that it maybe doesn't go across as well. But something happens later in the movie, nearing the end of the movie, and it's a real, did he do the right thing or not with regards to Liam Neeson. It was nice to see it. It was nice to sort of remember it, because the last time I saw this movie, I think I was 16. I would definitely recommend it. It wasn't as good as I remember, but I had all the extra information from the book. If you like Liam Neeson, I would say, yeah, check it out. If you're not the biggest fan, then you can probably give it a miss. Where are we at? Emily the Criminal. I really enjoyed this. I remember I added this to my watch list when I heard Sean from Lost in the Real talk about it a long time ago, but I'm only getting around to seeing it now because it's been added to Netflix. So this follows a student called Emily who has got student debts, that does not have enough money, and that gets involved in crime to help pay her bills. And that just spirals out of all control. All sorts of shit goes down. I absolutely adored where this went in the end. I absolutely loved it. I gave that one a 3.5 out of 5. Would thoroughly recommend. Really fast paced, really interesting, fantastic acting, just really, you could really see this happen in real life. So yeah, I enjoyed that one. The Antisocial Network, Memes to Mayhem, is a documentary about stuff like Facebook on Netflix. I didn't like it. I thought it was pretty dull, to be honest. Sleeping Dogs. This is a Russell Crowe movie. So let me remind myself. Roy Freeman, an ex-homicide detective with a fractured memory, is forced to revisit a case he can't remember. As a man's life hangs in the balance on death row, he must piece together the brutal evidence from a decade-old murder investigation. This is really good. I give this a 3 out of 5. This, he basically now is suffering from some form of dementia, or it's not like really far progressed, but he can't remember anything from his past. And it's very clear when you watch the movie, he's a very different man now than he once was. And he is forced to try and go back, speak to his old partner, work out what happened. Why is this guy on death row? The guy had actually sent for him to speak to him. He couldn't remember who the guy was for obvious reasons. He goes to speak to him, and he is really convinced by this young man on death row that he is not guilty, and he sets about trying to find the truth. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very good. Sleeping Dogs. What Jennifer Did. This is a documentary on Netflix at the moment. The title is perhaps a little bit of a giveaway. When Jennifer Pan calls 911 to report that her parents have been shot, she becomes the primary focus of a captivating criminal case. I think, if memory serves me correctly, is this a 3-part program? I can't remember. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. If you like true crime, definitely check it out. Well worth a watch. This girl is just all kinds of ruthless. The First Omen. So I went to the cinema to see this one, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Another film about sexy nuns. They're all over the place, aren't they? Don't need to go into the story. So many of you have reviewed it. I give it a 3.5 out of 5. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was excellent. Civil War. I went to see that the next day, I think. I gave that one a 4 out of 5. I know everyone is not loving it. I personally absolutely loved it. There are reviews for The First Omen and this one, I believe, on my channel. I did a quick thoughts out of the cinema. Civil War, I did talk quite a bit of spoilers at the end, because there were issues I had with the end of the movie and how they went about it that I didn't like. But other than that, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good movie. So 4 out of 5. What? No, I don't want to leave site. What did I click? Disappear. Why is that saying changes you've made? No, no, cancel. I don't know what's happening, guys. You're saying all this. Right, let's see. Go again. Disappear completely. An ambitious and insensitive tabloid crime photographer falls victim to a mysterious illness that makes him lose one by one his five senses. This one I really enjoyed. This guy picks up a curse, and it's as it says, he very slowly loses senses one by one, and it's a bit like The Ring. Sorry, Ringu. Is it Ring? You know the one I mean. It's a bit like this. He's trying to break this curse. He's trying to not lose all his senses. Eventually he's going to die. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was excellent. Would thoroughly recommend you check that one out. I gave that a 3.5 out of 5. When I consume you. A sister and brother seek revenge against... Right, okay, I started watching this and I couldn't finish. I was bored shitless, to be honest with you. A sister and brother seek revenge against an evil force that has haunted them since childhood. All I will say is this movie is not what it seems. It's put across that it's one thing, but it's actually something else. That couldn't save it for me. I was still bored shitless. Gigi and Nate, I don't know if that's how that's pronounced. This one is on Netflix at the moment. So this is about a young man that has an accident which leaves him paralysed. And at that time, a lot of people, support animals that they had included monkeys. So this boy has this support monkey. But a lot of people are very much against it. They don't feel that the monkeys should be the support animals, blah, blah, blah. You know, whatever you feel about that, you know, it's represented in this movie. It's just a really nice film. I gave it a 3 out of 5. It's not groundbreaking, but it's, if you want to watch something really easy to watch, check that one out. And you won't cry at the end. Nothing horrible happens. Baghead. So much potential. 2 out of 5. You will spend the entire movie, if you haven't seen it, shouting at the screen. This is about Freya Allan's character. I will always know her as Ciri from The Witcher. She inherits a pub when her father dies, and in the basement of this pub is Baghead, which is like this cursed individual who will allow you to speak to anyone you know that has passed, as long as you give Baghead something belonging to them. There's a very strict rule, which is you can only have 2 minutes. If you go over that, then you're giving Baghead an advantage so that they can manipulate you, they can like control you. This girl seems incapable of sticking to a 2-minute rule, and the same with everyone else. It's really frustrating. If they stuck to the 2-minute rule, everything would have been dandy-o. They're not able to, everything kicks off. It's a movie full of stupid decisions. I do feel this had quite a bit of potential, but it was wasted. It wasn't really the performance. I feel Freya Allan was fine in it. It felt like wasted potential. It felt like The Nun. You think, oh yeah, you know, this imagery of Valak, you know, is terrifying. But then when you see it put in a movie, you're like, nah. Speak no evil. So some of these I have to open, guys. My memory's so bad, I don't even remember. Yes! This is one that I watched. It's been on my list for a long time, but a lot of people have been very annoyed that they're remaking this. They're doing an English language version of this. This is it Danish or Dutch? Anyway, a Danish family visits a Dutch family. They met on holiday. What's supposed to be an idyllic weekend slowly starts unraveling as the Danes try to stay polite in the face of unpleasantness. So if you like movies like Funny Games, you'll probably enjoy this, but it's not as brutal as that. It's much more slow paced. This family that they go to visit are just very weird. They do things that are very beyond weird, just things that would make normal people angry. One of the least amount of things they do is they keep trying to get the mother to eat meat, and she's a vegetarian. They're like, no, I insist. A normal person would say, oh, you know, away on, I'm not eating meat, I'm a vegetarian. But there's so many situations where they should have got in the car and left and they didn't. They're talked around, and that is frustrating. But it's a good movie. It's very well acted. It's very frustrating. It's very tension building, and it all kicks off at the end. But you will question what the hell some people are willing to put up with. Maybe I'm just ruder than the next person, but if I'm a vegetarian, which I'm not, but if I was and you're sticking meat in my face, you'd be told where to go. And that's the least of what they do. They do a lot worse than that. So Abigail, there's that thing again. Abigail. Went to the cinema to see this one, thoroughly enjoyed it, 3.5 out of 5. Really enjoyed how overtly gory it was. Melissa Barrera, I thought she was fantastic. Dan Stevens, well, hey, he's a bit of alright. Now, what's the young girl called? Is that Alicia Weir? She was fabulous, and I only found out after she's actually Irish, so that's fantastic. She just gives such an amazing performance. Two completely different sides of the same coin. There were a few frustrating moments in this as to why they didn't, capture why they didn't take advantage of certain situations, which I do have a review of this up on the channel, which you can check out, where I talk more about, how I feel about that. But I did really enjoy it. I did like everyone's performance. I loved the humour. I could have taken even a little bit more humour, and I loved the excess gore. So yeah, thumbs up for Abigail. Baby Reindeer. Everybody and their dog's talking about this. This is a British show on Netflix. This is about a guy that is nice to a woman he feels sorry for, and she goes on to stalk him relentlessly. This is a true story. This is something which this guy experienced, but I feel when you watch this, he has just as many issues as she has. And I think even though not everyone that has a stalker, I've been there, it's not a nice thing. Not everyone that has a stalker does anything to encourage it or to warrant it, but this guy makes some decisions which are pretty questionable, and does some things throughout the series that are like, what the hell are you doing? But it's really, really good, really immersive. You'll find yourself sitting binging it all at once. Very, very good. Give that a 3.5. Right, Thirst. I don't know why that's doing that. I haven't actually finished this. This is a movie about vampirism as a curse. This priest is, I believe, he's given some form of treatment for a disease. He becomes a vampire. I haven't finished it. It's so highly rated amongst everyone I know that's seen it, and I'm not seeing it myself. I wasn't really overly enjoying it. So I switched it off because I had something else to do, and I haven't gone back to it yet. I will finish it. But yeah, Thirst. We're almost there, guys. Beyond the Grave, I don't need to open that. It's a documentary about what happens after we die, because I am just so intrigued. Things like reincarnation and stuff really intrigue and interest me, but this was more about the scientific process of what happens in the brain and stuff, and yeah, wouldn't we love to know what happens when we die? So next one, Boy Kills World. This is Bill Skarsgård's new film. It's action-packed. I've heard it compared to John Wick crossed with Scott Pilgrim, which is the very, I think actually Leo described it that way. It's a fun movie. It's very, very easy to watch. Really good performances. I did really enjoy it. I expected to like it a little bit more than I did, but I'm not a massive action fan. So that could explain that, but it's definitely well worth a watch. Right, this one. This is one that makes me so angry. I've had this to watch for ages, and I finally got around to it, and I have to be so careful talking about this because I don't want to offend people, but the synopsis of this is: a faithful Jehovah's Witness is forced to shun her own sister because of a religious transgression. As the separation draws out, she starts to question the meaning of God's love. Now, if you're thinking this is going to be overtly ramming religion down your throat, it isn't. This is written and directed by an ex-Jehovah's Witness who was brought up as a Jehovah's Witness. I've read an awful lot of reviews. I wanted to see Jehovah's Witnesses' take on this movie before I spoke about it. And anybody that ever did grow up in that background or has been part of that background that no longer is, say that this depiction is very, very accurate. It's spot on, and it angers me to death. Now, I've said before and I will say again, I have nothing against, I'm not a religious person. I'm quite a spiritual person. I don't believe we die, we get buried, that's it. But I'm one of these, I've no idea what happens, but I like to think it's not just that. But I was brought up Catholic, in case you're wondering. I think they describe Catholics as airy-fairy Catholics in this. I have no issue with religion. My mum herself is very religious. It brings her a lot of comfort. I've been brought up in a religious family, so members of my family are still religious, but just not me. So I have no issue with whatever you want to believe, whatever you're part of, fine. as long as it doesn't do any harm to anyone else. That's where my issue comes in. Now, in the movie, we follow two sisters, and one of the sisters actually gets pregnant, hence the religious transgression. And there's a lot to do with what's it called, defellowshipping, which is basically like excommunicating, meaning you don't speak to them, you're not allowed to sit and eat with them, you're not allowed to, this is your own family, you're not allowed to socialize with them, they are weak, they are not strong enough to be, you know. And then we have the age-old thing about blood transfusions. Again, if that's your beliefs and that's what you want to do with regards to yourself, absolutely fine. When it comes to allowing children to die because you are a Jehovah's Witness and you want your child to be one, so you won't allow them to have a blood transfusion, that's where I have serious issue. This movie is just, you really, as a mother, I really struggled with the fact that this mother is choosing this religion over her own children, over a potential grandchild, over her child's health, because one of her daughters is anemic also. I've known in life a couple of Jehovah's Witnesses, not massively well because they're not actually allowed to socialize with us. They're only supposed to, you know, socialize in the manner that they have to, like with work and things like that. But it's very much a, we say within our community, we don't want to like, we're not allowed to mix with people outside of who we are unless it's a necessity. Like the mother could bring her pregnant daughter some shopping, but then she would be expected to leave. In one scene, she goes into the kitchen in another room to eat her dinner because she's not allowed to sit in the same room as her daughter and eat a meal together. And it's just all encompassing. And I mean, the actual rule with regards to the blood is not something taken from the Bible, or if you want to get really specific about it, it's just something that one of these elders decided and everyone follows it, and people are letting their kids die. It's difficult, it's hard, you know, people being isolated from friends, people, you know, not allowed to have friendships, people getting with someone that's a Jehovah's Witness and then just forgetting the whole life they had beforehand, not even mixing with friends, with family, because that's not what Jehovah wants. You mix with your own kind, you know, and it just maddens me. It really, really, especially as a mother, I was shouting at the TV. Now, this is the only one I've spoken at about any length because I feel really strongly about it. Is it one I would recommend to you? Probably not, because most people that watch this will just be really angry, like I was, but I wanted to check it out and I wanted to see what it's all about. I also wanted to look and see what people that have been brought up in this faith, if they felt it was accurate or if they felt it was finger pointing and nasty. And the general consensus is this is spot on. And if this is spot on, I've no words. Like I say, if you want to believe something for your own beliefs and follow a religion for your own sake, absolutely fine, but don't inflict that on anyone else, and don't expect someone else to live their life how you choose to live yours. That's a form of abuse as far as I'm concerned. So, lastly, Homesick. This is one I watched for Leo at Geek Legion of Doom. Very quickly, this is about two half-siblings that never met as children, meet as adults and fall in love. And there's quite a bit of rumpy-pumpy in there, even though half an hour of it was cut out, which disappointed me somewhat. It also says in the trivia in IMDb that this has non-simulated sex scenes, so there you go. Whether that's true or not, how much is the accuracy? I tried to research that and couldn't find anything anywhere, but I have filmed just before this a review for Geek Legion of Doom for that one, which will be up whenever I get it edited and across to Leo. So yeah, that is, let's click our done button. That is a very quick rundown. Well, it's not very quick because it's nearly half an hour on what I've watched over the month of March. Thank you so much for watching. I know I haven't done my weekly watches every week. I may go back to that, I may not. I'm not entirely sure. As I said, life has been pretty hectic, pretty busy. Sadly, as most of you probably know, I lost my grandfather just over a week ago. So there was a lot of sort of like stuff to do with the family, and having to look after my mum and stuff because she needs 24/7 care, and my dad, it was my dad's dad, and my dad needed to be away quite a bit. So yeah, family life sort of pulls you away sometimes, responsibility. So yeah, I may not be as active as I normally am, but if I go to the cinema, I will always try and do a little quick what I thought for you. I do still do my vlogging channel. It's not something I know most of you watch. I keep it quite for myself and a few people that watch it. It's basically a video diary of our family's life, and generally it's me waffling crap to you what's going on. So yeah, thanks for your patience, guys, with me. Thanks to those of you who've watched all of this waffle. Let me know below in the comments what you think. If you're a Jehovah's Witness and you're going to slag me off down there, don't bother, because it won't make any difference. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Over and out from Lisa Loves.